Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to Historian Radio's Echoes of the News, and I am Muhammad Hussain Qazi, and these are today's headlines from the past. On this day, the 10th of December in 1898, Cuba became independent of Spain following the Spanish-American War, and Cuba gained its sovereignty and has maintained it since then. And on this day, in 1917, the first postmark slogan was stamped on envelopes in Britain: "Buy British war bonds now." This would be a significant and iconic statement that would continue throughout the course of the First World War on envelopes, posters, among other things, and would be brought back just as the Second World War would begin. And on the subject of iconic moments, in 1919, the Smith brothers became the first aviators to fly from Britain to Australia, undertaking one of the largest flights to occur between the United Kingdom and another area. That is to say, in this specific case, the United Kingdom and Australia, which is one of the largest aviation routes undertaken to this day. And lastly, in 1983, Raul Alfonso became the first civilian president of Argentina for 8 years following the rule of military junta. This would be a significant moment in the history of Argentina. And prior to that, in 1931, Alasara Zamora, forgive me if I have mispronounced his name, became Spain's first constitutionally elected president. Both of these rulers would set an intriguing precedent by becoming the democratically elected heads of their states. So, truly a fascinating series of events. And on that note, we conclude today's headlines of the day, and we move on to the next segment of our show, where we recount the famous births and deaths of famous figures from the 19th and 20th centuries and sometimes earlier. On this day in 1819 was Melvin Dewey, US librarian who devised the library cataloging system which bears his name, that is the Dewey Decimal System. He would be born on this day, the 10th of December, 1851. And alongside him, in 1924, Michael Manley, Prime Minister of Jamaica from 1927 to 1980, and again in 1989, was born on this day. His father, Norman Manley, had been Prime Minister 10 years before. And unfortunately, on this day, in 1896, Alfred Bernhard Nobel, the Swedish chemist and industrialist who made much of his fortune from his invention of the dynamite and used it to found the Nobel Prize, died on this day, the 10th of December, 1896. And on that unfortunate note, we conclude today's headlines of the day. You are watching and listening to Historian Radio's Echoes of the News, and I am Muhammad Hussain Qazi, and these are today's headlines as history first heard them. Good night.